I'm Ralph Morbido, and welcome to One on One. Today we're on location in Mendon, New York, at Joe's Mendon House. The owner, Joe Paravano. Joe, welcome to One on One.
Thanks, Ralph.
Now, Joe, you lived in East Rochester for a long time, didn't you?
Yes.
And you had your business there.
Yes.
Now, you weren't born in East Rochester.
No.
What's your background in your youth and where you went to school and what have you?
Well, we moved, my family and myself, we moved to East Rochester in 1958 with my mom and my sisters, which my dad came in a couple years earlier than we did.
He came from Italy.
He came from Italy, which he moved to Ohio he had a sister lived in Ohio, and he was having a little problem getting a job, and so we had relatives in East Rochester, which were the DeSantis families, which they worked at the car shop.
Mm-hmm.
So then my dad came here to get a job. So, and this is where we stayed.
Right, most of the people, we worked in the car
Yeah,
shop.
exactly.
So how old were you when you came over then?
Well, I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 15. So I went to school for about a year and a half
Mm-hmm.
in East Rochester. And
Could you speak English at all at the time?
no, which I was very fortunate. It really was, because the people that I was associating with, they were very nice to us. The teachers were very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they used to teach. They used to give us a lot of private lessons in English,
Okay.
and so we were very fortunate. And it took a while to learn the language
Sure.
and everything else. And as you notice, I'm still not up to where I'm supposed to be, but I'm getting by. And so and then I left school and went into the construction. Started working as a laborer.
Who did you work for?
Most of the people that came from Italy at the time, they worked for Joe Martini.
Okay.
And I started as a laborer. And
With him?
With
With
him,
his-
yeah,
yeah.
with his crew.
Yeah.
And then after about a year and a half, 2 years, I says, this is not for me. I went on about a trowel, and I decided to become a mason myself. So, and I did, and it worked out very well. You know, I made a good living out of it, and I still live in East Rochester. I left East Rochester, and then I went up to Alaska, worked for Exxon at the pipeline, and I was traveling back and forth in the winter. I used to come home,
Mm-hmm.
and spent about 4 or 5 years up there.
I just learned the Masons business from watching.
Just for
the-
watching,
the
yeah.
Masons,
Yeah,
and then you try.
yeah.
Because I worked for a Mason one time.
Yeah.
I could never put the on the wall, the
mortar.
mortar.
Yeah.
Will never stick.
Yeah. Well, I always said, when you train on a job, that's the best training. You can learn
Sure.
from the books,
Yeah.
but on the field, I think you learn so much more. And so, I spent some time up there, and it was good to me. And but I always had, one thing I always did, Ralph, is I always had my family behind me. I really, really did. Like my kids. I got 3 wonderful kids, 3 grandchildren now. My sister, my brother-in-laws, they're always been behind me. My mom, my family always been behind me.
That's important.
They always been supporting me, no matter what I did.
Mhm.
No matter what I did. And so back in the 80s, when I was done with the pipeline, I came home, and my sister owned this piece of property in East Rochester, this building, and it was a beauty shop. They had a laundromat there, and before that used to be a grocery store. So I decided to open up a restaurant.
Just out of the blue?
Just out of the blue. I wanted to go into the restaurant business.
Did you ever work in the restaurant business?
Yeah, I worked in a restaurant, a little bit part-time, tending bar, different places,
But how about a kitchen?
Never.
Do you have any idea what went on in the
Never.
kitchen?
I didn't even know how to boil water. It's funny. But so this was, I took this little building, and like I said, with the support of my family behind me, I built this restaurant.
But where did you start? So you got
Well,
the
I
building,
went-
but where did you start?
Well, I went to, it took a while, it took almost a year to get this thing together. I used to, which I was still working during